Hello guys! So today we are going to be talking about an ingredient that is exclusive to Monat. It is actually the Fiber Rescue and it is found in our restructuring collection. Okay, so here's a couple. We have our Inner Force Restructuring Serum. This is a really good, and then the pre-wash, reconstruction pre-wash conditioner, and then the shampoo as well. I believe there is a mask along with it, but these are just the ones that I had on hand. So, basically, this is going to be something that's going to be amazing for anybody that has chemical damage or mechanical damage. So chemical damage is obviously going to be chemically treated hair. If you bleach your hair a lot, you color your hair a lot, you're starting to find breakage and a lot of split ends, this stuff is going to be fabulous for your hair. Mechanical damage comes with a lot of heat. So or a lot of stress, environmental stress, right? So this does exactly what it says. It's going to restructure your hair, okay? So I'm going to explain a little bit how it does that. And to do that, I'm going to show you a picture. I'm going to explain kind of how our hair is formed and what it contains, okay? So here's a picture of the hair shaft, all right? After it is grown out through our scalp and we have the long strands, this is what it's going to be broken down to. So you can see the cuticle, which is the outermost layers. That's what we refer to as the shingles. You can see how they kind of lay like shingles would on the top of a roof. This is going to be the protective barrier that's going to care for our inner layers of the strand, okay? So the middle, or like we're going to go in one layer, that is going to be the cortex. This is what we're going to talk about because the cortex is the middle layer. It is where the fibrous protein core and the color pigment is held, okay? The protein is called keratin, okay? So I'm gonna remind you that in a second. And then we have the medulla, which is the very innermost layer. And it's very common for fine or light colored hair to completely lack the medulla altogether, okay?
Okay, why
so
do I
the
want you
things
to
that we want to focus on are the cuticle and the cortex when talking about hair.
Strand. Okay, so basically because this fiber rescue that Monat has developed is very exclusive to them. It is a plant-based lipoprotein technology proven to penetrate deep into the hair's cortex, so not the outermost layer, but the inner layer, to target damage at a microscopic level, all right? It's going to restructure its internal structure to rescue each strand from root to tip, replacing damage with new structure and strength while providing manageability back into the hair, okay? So, like I said before, you can have chemical damage and you can have mechanical damage. Chemical damage is going to be more harsh typically than the mechanical damage, because when you color your hair, especially if you're bleaching your hair, you are stripping all of that pigment which is found in the cortex, okay? So we want to go in and we want to re-establish structure in the shaft. Now, how do you do that? I'm going to explain a little something about our bodies that are really, really cool. So when I broke my leg, snapped in half, okay, I had to go through a process because the bones got placed close together, but there was a gap, okay? So in order for that to happen, in order to fill in those gaps, what happened is like this tissue kind of like covered up what it could and made like a bridge from one to the other with this tissue. And then it started to form a spongy, soft bone. And then over time it started to pack together and make hard bone, okay? So it's kind of like that in our hair, right? So when it's damaged, we have gaps that we need to fill in. And we want to make that bridge, and then we want to strengthen that bridge so that our hair doesn't just break off or split, okay? We want to go inside in that microscopic level. I mean, you see how tiny a hair strand is. Like, that is the tiniest little guy, right? And so it is microscopic damage. But if you're dealing with a lot of breakage, you're dealing with a lot of split ends, you're dealing with frizz and unmanageability, this is going to be perfect for you. So, what is a lipoprotein technology that's plant-based? Like, what does that mean and how is that going to help us? So, another thing to understand is exactly what the cortex is made out of. Okay, so basically, the cortex is going to be made out of water, lipids, minerals, and pigments like melanin. That's what's going to make our hair color the color that it is, and then a protein called keratin. So I know most of you have probably heard of keratin or keratin treatments, right? So especially if you have kind of unmanageable hair, people have gone to get Brazilian blowouts or keratin treatments. So what's the difference? Why not just go get one of those? Why use this instead of just a keratin treatment? So the keratin treatment will help your hair be more manageable for a time, for about, I think they last about 2 to 3 months, and they'll help it to where the blowout time is a little bit less. It's going to be a little bit more manageable, more smooth. But the problem is that it's using harsher chemicals, okay? And typically the keratin is coming from an animal base, not a plant base. Over time, like you can overuse keratin actually, and it can damage the hair even further. And also sometimes there's keratin treatments that have been known to be using formaldehyde. Some are starting to use formaldehyde-free products, but some of the formaldehyde-free ingredients actually under heat can release gases that are just as bad as formaldehyde. Why is formaldehyde bad? Well, it has actually been known over time to become carcinogenic. So that's why we've actually stopped using formaldehyde. I had a science class and we had cow eyes and brains and hearts and what else? A lung that we dissected. Nothing was in formaldehyde anymore. Remember back in high school, everything that we dissected a pig, and so it was in formaldehyde. We've stopped using formaldehyde because we've known over time that it can actually become carcinogenic, which means cancer causing. So I'm going to explain to you why we are going to really say that this is going to be a better option, all right? Because lipoprotein, all right? It is a lipoprotein technology. So let me show you what a lipoprotein looks like. All right, so this is what a lipoprotein looks like. It is a cluster of lipids associated with proteins that serve as transport vehicles for lipids and lymph and different other minerals and proteins throughout our body, okay? So you can see they have all of these little purple heads, and then they have squiggly lines going to the center, okay? And then they're a carrier for proteins, all right? Okay, so lipoproteins are so cool because those little purple heads that you saw that encompass it, they are actually hydrophobic, okay? So they're afraid, they don't like water, they push away water. But the inside, those little squigglies, they are lipophilic. They love lipids, okay? And then you saw that there's proteins. There's little balls of proteins that they attach to. So it is tightly packed little macromolecules, okay? And they are going to transport through the cuticle and into the cortex. And they are going to disperse into our cortex and help nourish, okay, something that might be damaged, and it's going to start restructuring, okay? It is going to start rebuilding that bridge. It's going to start rebuilding the bonds and making it stronger so that we have less breakage, okay? So it is such a cool technology. Obviously, it is all plant-based. It is going to go in and help the keratin, the protein, okay? It's going to restructure the protein. It's going to feed it, if you think about it, and the lipids in there, the fatty molecules, okay? So it's really cool how this works. Like I said, really great for damage, for really chemical or mechanical damage. If you ever see yourself like having breakage at any point in time, or you're starting to feel like the split ends are getting unmanageable, this will repair it at a microscopic level, okay? And not only that, you can't use this too much. This is so gentle that like you could use it technically every day if you want to. With our products, it's really nice because you don't have to wash every day. They work so well that they help you spread out the wash cycles. And then they give you such shiny, soft, really strong, just wonderful. I mean, this is just easy managed hair. All I did was let it air dry, and then I just blow dried the last like maybe 4 minutes. So I can attest this stuff works amazing. It makes your hair so soft, smooth, manageable, gets rid of the frizz. It's going to help with the micro damage, and it's going to help you be able to let your hair grow longer, stronger, and thicker and more beautiful. So I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, another episode of Science with Ness. I'll talk to you later. Bye.